So whenever you go for interview, the first questions, as I told, they will ask for the fundamentals of the DevOps. Do you really understand what is DevOps and why you need in your project, and what is your role and responsibility in DevOps? What what kind of setups you have done? Okay, all these details they will ask you, and the main process is the CI/CD flow. They'll ask the CI/CD flow. That you should understand where you need CI and where you need CD, and what sort of tools you need for CI and what sort of tools you need for CD. See, so today we'll discuss about the Ansible, and we'll see and the various use cases. What is the benefit of using Ansible, and why the organizations and companies are going behind the Ansible and implement these solutions in their organizations. Okay, so let's start and see what is exactly the Ansible is. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so as I said, Ansible actually is an open source platform used for automation, helping with various operations such as configuration management, application deployment, task automation, as well as IT orchestration. So mostly companies they are using for configuration management and application deployment. Few companies actually, most of the companies, not few companies, most of the companies they are using actually configuration management and application deployment. So it comes under continuous deployment part. Okay, so the configuration management is very important when you are going to do the application deployment or product deployment. Okay, so what is again, it is easy to set up Ansible, efficient, reliable, and powerful. It is a very powerful tool, guys. It is totally written in Python. The Ansible is totally written in Python. Okay, so it's free and runs on Linux, Mac, or BSD machine. So guys, one more thing, it is not supported in the Windows machine. You cannot install Ansible on Windows machine. Okay, the server Ansible server should be Linux machine, but the agent and nodes can be Windows, not a problem. The agents and nodes can be Windows, but the server should be installed on Linux machine. Okay, and it uses the push mechanism to push packages into node servers using SSH connectivity. So this is very important. Again, it uses push mechanism. So in the market, you'll find there are various configuration management and application deployment tools such as Safe, Puppet, SaltStack, and all these, right? So if you think about Safe and Puppet, they are using the pull mechanism. I'll discuss further in this what is this push mechanism and the pull mechanism in the next slides. Okay, so Safe and Puppet they uses pull mechanism, whereas Ansible uses push mechanism to do the deployments and do the configuration management by using the SSH connectivity. It's very easy to set up. That's why on the first point I said it's very easy to set up, and it is agentless as it uses SSH tool to interact with the node machines. The node machines are the agent. So when say agentless, if you think about Safe and Puppet, they're dependent on the agent. If you are going to work on the Safe, the agent should be installed on the node machine so that the nodes can pull the configurations to the master, and then the Safe will work accordingly. But in case of Ansible, as it is agentless, it depends on the SSH connectivity. We don't need agent to get connected to the node. Only through SSH connectivity we can work on, and it's very simple. Okay, so Ansible required to be installed on master and control machine. We don't require Ansible to be installed on the node machine, and the various machine is not required. Only one machine you have to install Ansible. That machine will be your master machine or control machine. You can tell either master or control machine. There are two ways of Ansible we can use. One is CLI, which we are going to learn in this course, and the other one is the Ansible Tower. That is the graphical user interface. Ansible Tower is actually In the backend, anyway, we are going to write the playbooks and all this. This concept I'll just tell you. You'll be get confused what is playbook and all. Okay. So the CLI part will entirely work on the CLI in this course. Ansible Tower is the enterprise version, and you have to pay for that Ansible Tower. Though it is free versions are available for practice, but Ansible Tower is totally different GUI where you can set up all these playbooks and execute this. Simply very user friendly interface. Once you do setups, just one click and it will execute all the tasks. Okay. So many companies actually, my previous companies, I was working with Ansible Tower. My previous company, I was working with Ansible Tower. Okay, so CLI is very important because we need to understand end to end what's going on with Ansible. Okay, so the next is why we need Ansible. Okay, the first concept, if you understand why you need Ansible, then you can place the exact requirement in your project where you need Ansible to be kept, right? So let's consider a case. What happens? Whatever I have just written it here, let me just explain you. Think about suppose your company or your organization got a project, and that project required multiple other servers or machines to be configured. And once your development phase is done, and you need to deliver that product for staging environment and testing environment. Suppose that is a huge product and you need to be implement in various servers, various machines. Okay, before implementing that application, you need to be make sure that the required configuration, the configuration is nothing but the binaries, libraries, and the configurations and the ini file. Okay, all this needs to be there before the application in deployed. Okay, so suppose you have 15 servers and you got a big project and your administrator need to be set up all these 15 servers. So what he has to do, if he will not use Ansible, he has to manually log into the server and install the required software, right? Then what will happen here? It will consume lots of.
Ranjit, I have one doubt. So it is server or a node? You are saying 15 server or a 15 node?
So node is nothing but the server also, right? Node is nothing but a server also.
Okay.
It's a machine. You can say machine, you can say server. It's a different server. It's not the master server. It's a node server. Okay, you can say node machine. So server will be master. See, there will be 15 servers, suppose, or suppose you have installed in your which server you installed in Ansible, that will be your master server, master or control server. And which server you are going to work, that will be your node machine or node server.
Yes.
You got the point, right? Yeah. Ansible to be installed on the master machine. That master machine will be master
Yes.
machine. You can tell master server. You can tell anything. Okay. So that's what I was just explaining. Okay. 15 servers means your administrator has to log in each machine or each node or each server. Then he has to do the configurations. What will happen? It would take lots of time to do the 15 server configurations or 15 node machines configurations. Also, there might be a chance of mistake that some versions of software which is required might be missing. So while we deploy, it may cause the problem, right? So to overcome this problem, we can use Ansible, where we can write all the playbooks, what are the configurations is required to be deployed or installed on these node machines or node servers, that we can execute from the master, and those 15 servers within minutes of time everything will be installed. You don't have to go and log in manually each server and do that. It will be automatically taken care of by the masters, because the master will have the playbooks and the tasks which need to be executed. So that's what I have just explained here. Suppose there are 7 servers, out of which 4 servers are acting as your web server and 2 servers as database server. Okay, and 1 as load balancer. Further, you want to install Tomcat on web server and MySQL on the database servers and Nginx as load balancer. So all these confusions, what he has to, your administrator, what he has to do, he has to make note everything, log into the respective server, make that server as database, make that server as web server. Web server is required to be installed Tomcat, and your for load balancer you may need to install nginx. Okay, so all these things he has to log in manually and do. So, but in case of Ansible, what will do, the administrator or the DevOps engineer, what he can do, he can write a playbook, put all the tasks sequentially, and execute it. With the respective server, it will connect and just install the task based on the playbook written. Okay, so in traditional, okay, that is what I have written. In traditional method, where system admin will have to manage the servers manually, install the required software, will have to change the configurations along with the administer the service on each server individually. Okay, so to overcome this problem, Ansible came to picture. Okay, that is very, if you understood this concept properly, then you can put Ansible in your day-to-day life also. If you are getting configuring 2 3 servers, you don't want to go log in every time to this server and install Java, install Tomcat server, install PHP, or install Python, anything. You can write simple playbook, execute it. That's all. Within minutes of, within seconds of time, everything will be installed for you. Okay. So, what is the important terms in Ansible that we need to understand? So, because when you go for the interview, they may ask you these terms, and if you don't understand, you may not explain them, right? So, what, as I told, the first, when you install the Ansible on the machine, that machine will be act as your controller machine or your master machine. Okay, this is where your Ansible get installed. Your controller machine helps in enable the provisioning the servers that you manage. Okay, so everything will be happened, executions will be done from the control machine. Okay, and what is the inventory? So this is basically an initializing file which contains information about the servers that you are managing. So the inventory file is nothing about a record of the servers, which server or which node machine you are going to work, on which machines you are going to do the configurations and installations. The list of servers you are going to put in the inventory file. It is a plain text file, configurations file. Okay, then playbook. What is this playbook? The playbook is an organized unit of scripts which defines an automated work for the configuration management of your server. Okay, so playbook is actually the place where you are going to write your script, write your task, what you need to be executed on that particular server. Then task is the block defines a single procedure to be executed on the server, like installing the package, downloading the package, or doing some configuration changes, copy the file to one place to another place. All these tasks to be written in the playbook. Okay, the tasks will be part of the playbook. And the node machine, as I told, the controller machine works, whatever the as act as a controller machine, the controller machine will connect to the node machine and do all the tasks. So node machine is, these are the machines will be used for deployment and installations and configuration management. Okay, so these are the important terms in Ansible. There is not much, guys. It's very simple. If you really understand Ansible, these concepts are very easy, but you need to do little practice and to try to understand what the concept is. Once you understood the concept, it will be easy for you to write the playbook and play around it. I guarantee you, within 4 days of class, you'll be good enough to do your own task. Okay, let's understand the flow, how
Yeah,
the
Ranjit,
flow
one question here.
works. Okay, yeah, please.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Ranjit, one question here. It is a configure management means we
Configuration
can do
management.
the configure to the yeah. Uh, it will be like that once you start the means once your requirement is there and you will do the configuration for the all the server and nodes, I think.
Yes.
After that, that Ansible will be used to deploy only, or how it is? Means once you configure written that one to server, which server, what things are required, then automatically he install and all the things. Then after that, what the requirement of the Ansible
Yeah. After
once
that,
do the configuration?
yeah. After that, what will happen? After that, you have to deploy your product, deploy your application. That's why from the beginning I told, if you are going to deploy an
Yeah,
application, you should have the required configurations to be done prior to the deployment. That means first you need to do the configuration management and then you have to do the deployment. So in the playbook, we have to write the task accordingly before the deployment. That means the deployment step should be the end. Before the deployment, the required configurations, that means required software to be installed, required packages to be installed, required libraries, binaries to be transferred, required files, configuration files to be copied. Then once everything is done, then deploy your application. You got my point, right? So deployment will be done
yeah,
by
yeah.
the
For example,
Mhm.
you take I required Python. For Python, I required some plugins and all. Okay.
Yeah, yes.
This all the things will be written in the
Playbook.
inventory and all the things.
In the
Okay.
playbook, not
After
in
that,
Python. Not
yeah. After
inventory.
that,
Okay.
okay, okay. In playbook, we require to write this all the things.
Yes.
After this, after this, you once the everything is installed, and automatically server will be whatever the there it will be done. I think
Yes.
that is the
Once
Ansible will
yes.
be check or
Yes, once we execute the playbook, the Ansible will connect to the respective server, do the configurations, installations part, and then do the deployment.
okay. In for example, somehow it will be crash or something like that in any of the server.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
then how will we recover that?
yes, it will crash.
Same thing once you.
You have to fix it. See, like Jenkins, we did right while we are building something. You will be seeing like the build will be failing due to some mistake in the code or mistake in the packages or something, right? Then what you do, you check the logs and fix it.
Yeah,
Similar case also you have to do here also. When you do the installations or when you execute the playbook, you'll get errors of that respective lines or task. Then you have to troubleshoot it, why this task did not execute it, what is the issue, then you have to fix it. Similar way, it's a similar concept, right?
okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Same concept only.
yeah.
Now, my question like that, for example, you everything is configured is done. Okay.
Mhm.
For some days or after some days, my server is got crashed.
Which server?
That
Okay, that
whichever
mostly,
configuration for the
yeah,
one of the
mostly
server, that
crash.
one
Yes.
is crashed.
Mm. Okay, so crashed means in which way? You are mean to say terminated
Not
or crashed?
not
Crash is,
master. Where you were,
no, 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 not master, node machine. Suppose you said that the node machine
or
is crashed.
maybe some. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Then automatically this Ansible again will be configured, na?
No,
Automatically.
no, 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 no. Automatically Ansible will not do anything. You have to execute again the playbook.
Okay,
You have to execute again
okay.
the
Again, we are
playbook.
manually. Okay, manually you have to execute that for
Execute.
that server.
Yes.
Got
Manually,
it.
you can execute for that server.
Okay, okay, I got it.
Okay. So,
Then in real
Okay, I got it.
environment, if this is happening, Ranjit sir, to interrupt, like the real environment, if anything happens to the node machine, if we need to again deploy the code, like fix the issue from the Ansible
mhm,
as a master node. So how this would be like frequently or 1 or 2 times something is happening means,
mhm,
like we may lose our credibility to show our effort to business. In that case, node itself can recover the process on its own. If there is something glitch is happening, the node itself
mhm.
uh, fix the issue on by own. Is that possible, or else every time when the issue is happening and they seek a help from Ansible, and manually we need to trigger something to resume the business?
Guys, you still did not understand what is the purpose of Ansible. Okay. You still did not understand what is the purpose of Ansible. See, once the deployment is done, the Ansible part is over. We already done configurations. We have done already deployments and everything. After a few days, if the server crashed, then what is the role of Ansible here? We have to troubleshoot the production issues. What is the production issue? Why the server crashed? Then you have to act accordingly, right? It's not related to the Ansible. You have to think that way, right? Once the, because see, this is what prior to the production deployment, right, guys? If you are going to deploy into the productions, everything, so what will be done? Configurations will be done first, software installations will be done, then deployment will be done. Then after a few days, if the server crashed, then what Ansible will do there? Ansible is to do for configuration management, installations, and deployment. Then there is no role of Ansible again. You have to troubleshoot the production issue and see what is the problem. Then you have to fix it either manually, or if you have any automation process, then you can fix it like that, right? That is not so. That's why I try to
Understand, Ranjit.
try to understand what is Ansible, what is the usage of Ansible. That's why if you don't understand what is the usage of Ansible, you will get confused all the time. When you need to place Ansible, that you need to understand first. Once the application goes to production, there is no role of Ansible now, because everything is, all the packages, all the softwares, everything installed. If you are going to configure a new server, deploy another new applications, what are the part is required, then you have to execute that one. Once it is deployed, that is over. If you want to redeploy it, because suppose the application is required, suppose redeployment, what will happen? If you execute the playbook, the required softwares, required libraries already would have configured, so Ansible is so intelligent that it will find it out that these parts already installed, it will skip it, then deploy the application alone, redeploy the application alone. Okay, so that is the main usage of Ansible here in the market and organizations. Okay, so once deployment is over, if the server crashed and anything, there is no role of Ansible. We cannot execute Ansible again if a server crashed. If you are going to reconfigure a new server, then you can use the Ansible. Or same server, you can use the Ansible.
Okay. I'm going to ask one dumb question. I don't know whether it is right or wrong. The thing it is, once the application is completely deployed into the production, once the application completely deployed into the production, we may second version we may going to release. In that case, second version or some patch activity needs to be installed to the application. In that case, Ansible will help, or manually within the application itself, development team will do.
No, here Ansible will help, and here that is another usage of Ansible. Anytime you need to deploy new versions, you have to use Ansible. Again, what I told, when we execute that particular task or playbook, you have to change the playbooks based on the versions, right? If you are suppose 1.1 versions of production application production is going on, and second 1.2 application is going, 1.2 versions of deployment is going to happen, you have to change the playbook based on the versions. 1.2 you have to mention that configurations you have to change, then execute the playbook. Then what will happen? It will get the 1.2 package and deploy it. But while deploying 1.2 package, whatever the prior task is written for configurations and installation, that will be skipped. Why? Because it is will be already installed. So it will only deploy the 1.2 package into the server. Ansible is very highly used for that case also. Only deployment. That is why Ansible, what I told, Ansible does two times, mostly for configuration management and continuous deployment. Continuous deployment, CD. That understand. Continuous deployment means you, any changes you need, you have to continuously, it will be get deployed. That is what automations,
okay.
Right? You don't have to wait for production support guys go and manually deploy the another version. Then what is the use of Ansible then? Right? It is a continuous
deployment.
Yeah, it is the continuous deployment. Okay, so any changes happen in development, any new versions going to deploy, you can use Playbook for continuous deployment. Okay. So Sivaram, is it clear everything?
Yeah, Ranjit.
Okay.
Ranjit, can I ask one
Yeah,
question,
sure.
small question?
Please.
Yeah. So Ansible also we are configuring all the servers where to install the path, all the script we are applying,
Yeah.
and even in Jenkins files also we are mentioning this tool has to be integrated. This is the task to be completed,
Yes.
and Jenkins also we are doing deployment part.
Mhm.
So I would like to know the major difference between Ansible Playbook and Jenkins file.
Yeah. That's nice question, Sky. So any one of you can explain and clear his doubt if others understood his question, and if others understood Jenkins and Ansible well, you can also answer his questions. What is said?
Here
Friend?
configuration management is will be very easy in Ansible. And one
Exactly.
more thing here, one more thing, you can write once and you can configure several times. In
Yeah.
Jenkins, you have to write every time. That is the one major advantage here.
That's very good. Sivram answered very well because, as I told Venkat, it is for configuration management and continuous deployment. So, yes, in Jenkins, you can do continuous deployment, no doubt. You can do continuous deployment. But prior to the deployment, what are the configuration changes is required, you cannot do in Jenkins file. For that, you need Ansible playbook to be executed. Okay, and that Ansible you can also integrate with Jenkins. That I'll cover once we finish the Jenkins. Okay, Ansible also can be configured in Jenkins. That is the advanced topic. That there is a project I'm going to cover on this. Don't worry, guys. That you will understand how Jenkins can be integrated with Ansible. Okay, so
Okay,
Venkat,
Ranjit.
you clear, right? Yeah. So because see, if already a server is configured and already a server is set up, the old server is running fine, only you need the deployment. That part can be done in Jenkins file. You can write and fully automate everything. The deployment will happen. You don't need to do anything because all the packages, binaries, libraries, softwares, already required things are already installed. If you are going to add a new configurations, then you have to depend on the Ansible. So it will check. That's why we are integrating all these Ansibles and everything in the Jenkins. So Jenkins, before doing that, what it will do, it will execute the playbook. Jenkins can execute the playbook, guys. I'll show you how it can be done in Jenkins. Okay. So that I did not do that because you don't know what is Ansible. If I show that project, then you will not understand what is going on. Okay, that's why I kept it that. Ansible, I'll cover. I'll show you how you can integrate Jenkins with that. That is very advanced one, and that is a project I'll show you. Okay, don't worry. Then you will understand complete real time how it works. Okay? So now you understood the concepts and important terms, right? Is there anything we need to discuss, or I can just move forward? Okay. Okay, so let's start. Um, we'll see what is how the workflow happens. Okay, if you see this diagram, right, the control machine is nothing but the where the Ansible is installed, the master or the control machine, and the control machine will have the inventory. The inventory is nothing but the list of servers, list of machines where the configurations or deployment needs to be done. The playbook is nothing but the scripts or the automation tasks which need to be executed in the servers mentioned in the inventory. So it all will be done by the control machine. How? If you see this diagram here, I have three node machines, node 1, node 2, node 3. Through SSH connectivity, how it works, the control machine first scans the inventory. When it finds the server listed, suppose three servers listed in the inventory, it will connect the first server. Based on the playbook, it will connect to the server, push the playbook into the node 1 and then execute that, and then execute. That's a push mechanism. It will first push it, then execute that playbook on the node 1, and then get the response back. Similarly, it will do for other machines also, the control machines. Okay, let's see more details on this. The local machine connects to the server, that is, the server is nothing but the nodes, okay, through an inventory using secured SSH connections. Okay, so once these nodes are connected to the master server, then node servers are being analyzed, and the playbook codes, as I told, the playbook codes are pushed towards each of the servers. So once it gets connected, the playbooks will be pushed to the servers, and then after then it will be executed on the respective node machine. Okay, so that these playbooks can configure the servers remotely, which leads to a consistent environment. Okay, so what is the benefit of using Ansible? As I told, it is agentless. That means we are not dependent on any third-party software or any third-party agent or any agent to connect to the machines. Sometimes if there is some agent is down, like Jenkins. Jenkins is a agent-based connectivity. Guys, we need to connect the agents. Then we execute the build on that respective agent. If the agent is down, Jenkins cannot connect. But here in Ansible, it is agentless. Means we are not dependent on agents. We can simply connect through SSH connectivity. As long as connection can be SSH into and it has Python, it can be configured with Ansible. No agent or software or additional firewall codes are required to install on your client or host systems for automations. Also, you don't have to worry about setting up and managing the infrastructure. Okay, so it's very useful. And it's very simple. As we have seen about that, Ansible uses a very simple syntax written in YAML known as playbooks. So guys, the playbooks is written in YAML file. YAML is nothing but yet another markup language, like normal XML files, right? XML, extended markup language. This is yet another markup language, which is a human readable data serialization language. You don't need special coding skill required to code this. That's why, guys, I told, don't get serious on the coding part, on the scripting. It will be very simple. Anyone can write, but you need to understand what you're going to write, what you're going to achieve it. If you understood that, you can simply write in and you can do that on. It's very simple playbook text file. You have to write it. And then it's the modular. It's modular as you require only one program per script. In this way, you can spread your programs across different servers. Efficient, no extra software required, powerful and flexible. So it is very powerful while it comes on configurations and continuous deployment. So these are the benefits we can achieve from the Ansible. Okay. So let's see what are the operations we can do by Ansible. As I already told, configuration management and resource or server provisioning. So resource or server provisioning is nothing but your, suppose if you are using AWS, in AWS, if you are going to provision an EC2 machine, you can use Ansible, write a playbook, it will connect to the AWS, then automatically create one EC2 instance for you. That is called a server provisioning. Okay, that also can be achieved by Ansible. Okay, configuration management, you know, as the software and packages need to be installed and the required binaries and files to be set up, that will be comes under configuration management. Resource and server provisioning is to provision a server, provision services or anything. Okay, that can be also done by the Ansible. What else? It also does application deployment. Application deployment. Also, it's a security and compliance purposes it is used, and it does orchestration. We can also perform orchestration of your application using Ansible. In Ansible provides the orchestration by aligning the business request with the application data and infrastructure. If you want to orchestrate something, you can, by using Ansible, you can do it. Okay, like Kubernetes we'll discuss in our classes. Kubernetes is also an orchestration platform, but it does container orchestration. Whenever we create container using the Docker, or in Kubernetes also, we can directly create pods and containers that we can orchestrate by using the Kubernetes. Okay. Okay. So that we can do it. So this is all about the Ansible. Okay, we mostly covered the theoretical part of Ansible. Now let's move on to see how we can install the Ansible and see more details about it. Okay, so as I told me in previous classes, all the time you always have to depend on the documentation of that respective tool and technology, right? So Ansible has very good documentations also. You just follow this documentation. Let me ping you, and you have to go through. If you have any doubt or anything, you can just follow this and go through this process. Okay. So this is the documentation phase of Ansible. So let's see about the installation. So installing Ansible also you can find it over here. Okay. So it has given what it says. Ansible is an agentless automation tool that you install on a control node. Okay. So here is the installation process. So what is the prerequisites? If you want to see the prerequisites, what is the prerequisites for control node? Okay, what is the prerequisites for control node? You can see it. For your control node, that machine that runs on, you can use many machine. It must have Python 2 installed, or Python 2 or Python 3, because as I told from the beginning, Ansible is totally written in Python. It's a Python program. We should have Python installed to run the Ansible. Okay. And what then? But will the function require the Ansible 4.2, Ansible 5.2? Okay. So all these requirements there. Okay. So it can run Red Hat, Debian, CentOS, macOS, but no Windows. What it says, Windows is not supported for control machine, but we can use Windows as node machine. We can configure Windows node machines in our master so that the Windows configurations can also be done by writing the playbook. But you cannot make a Windows machine as your control machine. Okay, that is not supported. And all these details are here. Okay, you just can go through here. Now let's see how we can install and which are. So these are the prerequisites. You can follow this installations document. Let me ping you also. Got it? Now, if you see here, installing Ansible on specific operating systems, if you're using an Ubuntu, Debian, and all, macOS, Solaris, all these things you can find it out here. Suppose if you're going to install in Red Hat, CentOS, or Fedora, you can follow this procedure. Okay, all these details are there. Now let's see just CentOS. It's very simple. You can either using the DNF package manager to install Ansible. Just copy this. If you're using Fedora, you can use it. If using CentOS, you can follow this. After that, you can follow the steps, whatever is given, then it is done. Okay, I have installed on my machines. Let me just go through this. I have installed in the CentOS. Okay. Oh, sorry. So if you see here, I have installed Ansible, and you can see here Ansible 2.9.18, 2.9 Ansible is installed, and it is the config file is this and all. So once you install Ansible, okay, once the Ansible installation is over, let me just show you. So installations of Ansible, what it says as it is written there, whatever I have also, Windows is not supported, good. Then it's very simple, whatever is there, I just copied it here in this document. So no need to follow this, everything is there, okay. Fine, so you just go everything and go and get everything from this installing page and just follow the procedure CentOS, what you need for Red Hat, what you need, and on Fedora, what you need. Once you install this, what will happen? If you go to your Ansible server, to your control machine, you will find this is my control machine. Okay, so Ansible, if you want to see, check if Ansible installed, just simple type Ansible, hit it, you'll find the usage, how you can use the Ansible. Okay, so again, for any help, if you need Ansible -h, so it will give you the informations about all Ansible details. Okay, so you can get it down. So let's clear this. Okay, so once you install Ansible, Ansible by default will be installed under etc folder. So just go to cd etc. If you do ls-l here, ls-l,
Okay, one doubt.
okay, so you'll find Ansible.
Yeah.
Okay, there are lots of files are there. No need to go for that. So if I go Ansible here,
Sanjit, we need to install the Ansible in the we have in the AWS instance. We have to use another create another instance and install the Ansible there, right?
yes, yes, you can create any EC2 instance like CentOS or Ubuntu, or if you have already a machine, if you already have a laptop with CentOS or Ubuntu machine, you can directly install your laptop, not a problem. Okay? If you don't have a laptop and if you want to do practice, better just to get EC2 instance, AWS EC2 instance, either CentOS or Fedora or Ubuntu, and then install Ansible and then work on that. Okay, so
Yeah, because I'm using the AWS.
Mhm.
Yeah, because why I'm saying in the AWS instance, we are using one Jenkins, another is Tomcat server. So
You
for
can
the Ansible, we need to create another instance, or in the same Jenkins we can install.
you can install in the same Jenkins server, not a problem, right? If you have required storage, if you have required memory, if you
Hmm.
have, then you can install any softwares if you want in the same server, not a problem, right? But in organization, they keep
Okay.
separate server, Ansible separate, Jenkins separate server and all. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do tests, how you want to practice. Okay? Either you can keep it in the same. I would suggest keep in the same Jenkins server. I have kept in the same Jenkins server. Okay, unnecessary you'll get another EC2 instances, and unnecessary if you forget to stop and it will be running, and you have to pay for that, right? So better keep in the Jenkins server where you have installed same server. You can install Ansible also.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So once you install Ansible, you'll find it will be installed under etc Ansible folder. Okay. Now, if I check this folder, what will happen? It will have one configuration file that's called ansible.cfg. This is very important, guys. This is very important file, Ansible configuration file. Based on this configuration file, Ansible works. Okay, based on this Ansible file and configuration work, and you'll find one hosts file also. This hosts file is nothing but your inventory. This is nothing but your inventory. Let's see and go through this Ansible configuration. You need to, once you install Ansible, you need to configure something in the ansible.cfg. Okay, ansible.cfg. Let me just open it, ansible.cfg. See, this is a very simple text file and everything you can see here. Here, if you see, everything is commented. Inventory is line is commented. If you see what is this inventory, the inventory is being used as etc Ansible and hosts file name. That's why it is called as your inventory. If you tomorrow, if you want to create one file name abcd, and you can just mention here abcd, and that abcd file will be your inventory. You understood clearly? It is not like that you need to mention as host. Whatever file you create for inventory, you need to come here the cfg, the configuration ansible.cfg file, and you can just uncomment this one, then use the host. Okay, and there are few libraries, modules, and plugin details we'll explain later in this class. And what user you want to execute, the sudo user, root. If you want to specify any particular user, you can just go through. All these informations are available, and this poll interval is 15 and all, so we can see it here. Now see, all these informations are there, and whatever things you are going to use, based on that you have to on everything is on commented, you have to uncomment it. If you are going to use roles path, okay, the rest of the things we'll discuss once we move forward with Ansible. Okay, if I discuss now, you will not understand, also you will forget that time what need to be done. So first thing is, now to understand, you have to uncomment this inventory to work on this host, okay, inventory file. So let's see what this inventory file contains. Yes. See, it just contains the server details. It just contains the server details. Let me open in the VI editor. So what it says, this is the default Ansible host file. Remember, by when you install, by default, it will create the inventory file. The file name will be hosts, okay, inventory file name hosts. So it should be live in the etc Ansible folder. So comments begin with has character, because everything is written in Python. Okay, has is nothing but your comment. Okay, and here how it is written, it everything you can understand here. So if you can give like a specific server, you can mention like this. If you want to group a collection of the servers or host, you can give us, suppose you have 5 web servers or 10 web servers, you can create a group called web servers and put all these informations here. And if you call only web server in your playbook, it will execute all these 5 servers. Okay, similarly for other database servers, you have to mention, like you have to write, suppose db server here, it is given as suppose db server. You are working on multiple db servers, you can give it like this. Okay, so like that. Okay, we'll see all these in real time, and all this while we'll executing and write the real playbook.